If you're a senior marketing professional in either the B2B or B2C space, it is time to revisit the ideas of full funnel marketing attribution here as we close out the calendar year of 2021. And one of the foundational reasons for that is a new KPI called share of search. This is Michael Markides with Holistic Analytics. This is a quick video going over what share of search is as a KPI, how you can use it, an example use case in the automotive sector where it's quite powerful, and then a little bit about how doing a proof of concept for your particular business is the first step to seeing if the share of search KPI is indeed valuable for your existing marketing data framework. If I was to go to a conference today, regardless of anywhere in the world, and regardless of B2B or B2C, it would be, how do I understand my brand? So how do I understand my brand strength? How do I measure it? How do I prove and improve really everything about the top of my funnel? How do I communicate for more budget? So forth. This is always a problem, as we know. I think from the analytics perspective and from our consultancy, what we see as the opportunity is increasingly we have behavioral analytics that we can implement into full funnel ideas. And that's very powerful. That's not market research. That's not a consumer survey and all the various quality concepts or concerns we would have with that. This is about your customer's actual behavior relative to your marketing efforts. What is share of search? Effectively, to that last statement, it's just your customer's behavior relative to your marketing efforts, more on the long-term side of your media and your media impact there, which is new. So share of search is looking at Google. It's understanding basically a vision that your business has to look at the intent of your customer through Google, which is the largest database of customer intent we've ever had. And it's a powerful way for you to tap into basically understanding changes in the marketplace earlier than you previously have been able to do. And really, that's one of the primary foundations of why you need to have share of search integrated into your KPIs now, so you can understand what's working and what's not working, and you can see those changes, whether that be in your sales, in footfall, market share. You can see those changes earlier than your competitors can, which allows you to, of course, act earlier and much more efficiently. The second bit there is full funnel attribution. So when we look at share of search and we try to understand the historical analysis, so using the historical trends.google.com data and using your historical KPIs and finding those correlations. We'll talk a little bit about the proof of concept for that in a second. Finding those correlations, once done, that gives you that proxy for the long-term media impact, which is really the missing link for most businesses to be able to do full funnel marketing attribution. Historically, we viewed it as being relatively inaccessible, too hard to do. I'm happy with my 60/40 prescription, and so on and so forth. That simply is not going to cut it anymore. We have a number of clients that are taking on full funnel marketing attribution, and we do believe foundationally that a data-driven marketing team now has access to the top of the funnel, and that's just going to change the efficacy of those teams and how they get more they get out of their marketing dollar. Improves decision-making, improves communication with the board, so forth. Here is the example of in automotive of share of search. So a little bit about what the graph is first. So on the x-axis, we have the lag in months, and on the y-axis, we have share of search. What's being graphed is the share of search correlation of a particular car brand, in this case, Australia, and its units of car sales. And so, meaning there's a lag there that's being measured. So when someone searches for a particular car brand on Google, and when that manifests as a sale, effectively, on the positive side of the correlation here. The first key takeaway here is that the consumer in Australia, between months 18 and months 22, roughly, at this point, they are deciding which brand to purchase, and or which group of brands that they're narrowing down to purchase. That's very powerful for any automotive marketing team to understand. The leader here has a very strong correlation for share of search at month 22, meaning when somebody, a consumer who buys something, in the most simplistic, who buys something, has typically done a search 22 months out. So that is a very strong brand being brought into the top of their funnel. The challenger brand, as you see, is far below. There's no correlation that we care about there. And the industry average is just above that threshold of 0.4, where we do care. The challenger brand, on the other hand, is very strong share of search correlation to the sales in the short term. So they're effectively doing a good job bringing in customers in the funnel, but obviously missing out at the top of the funnel. So what they need to do is a number of actions they can take from this. They can understand here in month 14 how to target their existing client better, various new car launches, brand campaigns around that month 14 mark. And then with the understanding that they are 9 months late to that consumer versus the industry leader who's influencing them at month 22, they can understand that they need to close that gap. And Share of Search gives them the proxy whereby they can start working on ways they can do that and just really understanding from the proxy very quickly what's working and what's not. What can you do as a business to understand if Share of Search is applicable for you? So Share of Search, again, is the relative strength of your brand search on Google relative to your competitors. From the top, you need to run a proof of concept model, whether it's applicable for your business or not. To date, it's been very strong in automotive, certain retail sectors. Finance has been very strong. And so as the data continues to grow, those use cases will continue to come out. But first, you need to run this proof of concept as your KPIs at whatever granularity you have access to historically, at least over the last 2 or 3 years, versus the same for the trends.google.com share search for your brand. Once you get the proof of concept done and you properly derive those insights and turn them into actions, you can really start building out that data-driven access more to the top of your funnel, not just with your marketing activation or your website. Here's a little more resource for this. Share of Search comes from Les Binet and Adam and Eve DDB in the UK. October 2020 was when it was released. You can go to YouTube and find that information and the original output from Les there, and some of the data that supports those conclusions. This video comes from Holistic Analytics. We're headquartered in Melbourne, Australia. We are a global consultancy that specializes in doing full funnel marketing attribution around behavioral analytics, which is increasingly becoming more accessible for marketing teams to look at now as we close out 2021. Thank you for listening.